everybody, and welcome to the Videostate podcast. My name is John Willem, and today I'm sitting here with Billy Boman. I'm super excited for our talk tonight. Hey, Billy.
Hello, likewise.
So actually, it's pretty funny because we met on LinkedIn, and this is the first time that we're seeing each other live. And we've been, following and discussing a lot of things in the AI world. There's a bit of there's a few concepts that came out of these. There was like the essence of these posts and these comments that resonated so much that I actually said, this is definitely how do you say, material for a podcast. So that's why we're here tonight. We had the augmented creativity. We talked about going inward, and you worked on a massive project that was released today. So yeah, can you first of all tell us a little bit about your background and how you were attracted to the world of AI?
Yeah, 100%. So someone told me I have a non-linear background. Someone told me once, because I've been in the design industry for well over 10 years. I worked in fashion as a menswear designer at H&M and All Saints, doing menswear and prints. I worked in graphic design and advertising. My mom and dad ran an advertising agency during my entire childhood. And I spent the last 5 years in digital and tech doing basically apps and websites and making them work well and look great at the same time. So I have this weird non-linear background, and then similar to you, I used to have lots of VHS. You kept them, that's great, but a huge interest in movies. Like
Okay.
the movies and music is like my lifeblood. It's the pulsating, life force throughout my life. It's been hugely important to me. I cannot understate that, and that kind of leads up to the piece we're talking about. It's called the Sunkiller Lullaby, and it's an amalgamation of everything that I like,
Yeah.
kind of, at least two very big things that I like. And I actually had a talk last week where we aimed at defining creativity, like that little question, right? But
Yeah.
all definitions of trying to define creativity are going to fail because it's too ephemeral. You kind of can't catch it. It's like trying to hold water in your hand. You can't catch it. But that doesn't mean we shouldn't try. So I think a great try at defining creativity is taking two things that seemingly don't go together, but then put them together.
Exactly. Yeah.
And the X factor and the kind of how you glue them together, that's you as a creator, as a creative, as a designer, whatever you are. That's how it works. You take a luxury hotel and morbid humor, and you have White Lotus. You take neoclassical symphonic or scales and hard rock, and you get Yngwie Malmsteen.
Yeah.
It's a very simple definition, but that's also kind of why I like it. So,
Yeah.
and what I did with Sunkiller Lullaby is that I took an amazing, pulsating, eerie metalcore track, Sunkiller with Spiritbox, and I put it together with kind of postmodern remix of everything from Francis Ford Coppola's Dracula. I can see I have there one of my all-time favorite movies, to
Yeah.
Ingmar Bergman, to Jonas Åkerlund, Paradise Lost, Dante's Inferno, these kind of old classical pieces of literature. James Wan, John Logan, a lot of horror directors and different people that I truly admire, and I kind of tried to make them go together. And 100 hours in, it kind of worked.
Yeah. I've seen it today. It came out today. So for everybody that is watching right now, you should totally check it out on YouTube or on Billy's LinkedIn profile. And to me, we've been discussing this before, but to me, this is exactly the feeling I had. First thing I came to mind, love letter. It's just like, it's there's so much passion in it. Like every frame, you say 100 hours. I totally see that. There's so much love in creating this video. And I totally feel you when you say that creativity in the basic sense is connection. It's just like you're connecting the dots. That we've been discussing this as well. But that's in my honest opinion, that's why I don't think it cannot be possible that you're not creative, because you can always create a connection between A and B. Only the thing is that if you create between A and B, it will always be limited in some sense. But if you allow yourself to create from A to Z, you stretch yourself, you become augmented, and that is where you
Yeah,
totally see this project. It was created in an augmented sense, and
100%. 100%. And I mean, just to riff on that, let's say you go A to G to E to Z to Y. I mean, non-linear. So you're actually, because the whole thing with the two things
yeah,
making creativity, it's that when you put them together, it also creates friction. Now,
exactly.
the luxury hotel and dark humor, it doesn't, what? It doesn't sound like they go together.
Yeah,
Metalcore and Hieronymus Bosch and drag, what? Like, it doesn't necessarily sound like it's gonna work, but you making it work with this kind of fairy dust,
exactly.
the creativity, wherever that comes from, that's the thing, because then it's interesting. I mean, I could have done another sci-fi trailer, and it's like, yeah, I don't know, not so interesting to me. Plenty of people do those, and they're nice. I wanted to do something truly personal, truly different. And that's when you need a bit of that secret
Yeah.
sauce, a bit of that personality. That's part of going inward instead of looking at what everyone else is doing. I mean, I don't want to sound too elitist or whatever here, but I don't know. I'm doing this full time now, so I just really wanted to do something from me, something really personal.
But I understand what you're saying, and I think that if like the hotel, and you mix it up with, I don't know, doom metal in the foyer, it's just like it doesn't fit, because for some people it's just like it's out of the frame. But I think that's what's so interesting right now, in this period, is that we are like pushing all these frames further and further away. So it's just like the comfort zone. It's being disrupted. It's being redefined, and that is scary. And scary is good. It's a very strong emotion, and that's the place where we create the best stuff. And going about scared, I have a question for you. I have indeed this massive video collection, and I just, for tonight, I dug up the video that scares me the most in my entire life, and it's called Pet Cemetery from
Ooh.
King. It's when I bought this as a kid, I watched it and I brought it back to the store because it scared me so bad. And later on, a few years later, I saw it back, and then I bought it again, and just this emotional fear is so powerful to create. It's just like we tend to run away from it, but actually, it's yeah,
Yeah, I kind of miss being scared. I mean, with movies, because you see so much. I mean, I'm turning 38 this year, so I mean, I've been around,
yeah,
but I love that. I mean, I think back in art school, so I mean, I studied product design, as in, physical products, but it's very
yeah,
much like a classic art school degree. But a teacher told me that, like, again, every definition of art will kind of miss, but that doesn't mean we shouldn't try. But like, one definition of art is that it makes you feel something: happiness, joy, horror, disgust. Because if it doesn't say it does, if it doesn't make me feel anything, it's kind of, it's,
yeah,
at least to me, then it's meaningless.
right,
And I think great art can actually be scary, horrifying,
yeah,
disgusting,
yeah.
and awesome, and yeah, incredible. And I'm not necessarily saying I'm doing art, because I mean, this is another huge discussion online, what is like AI art and all this stuff that we
Right.
don't have to get into. But I see myself as a creative, and I create things with the help of AI. And yeah.
But then this is interesting, because then you took, actually, and you took two extremes basically. You took horror and you took extreme music, which I also love, and you put them together, and it created this actually this beautiful marriage. And then you see that the two, like, there's a crossbreed. I have a background in underground music, not professionally, but I created a hardcore music 10 years ago. And I actually combined fast rave music, so it's like 200 beats per minute, with heavy metal. And
Oh,
it was a niche for it. And putting in like very aggressive vocals, it got me signed at a label, etc. Because there was
oh,
a market for it, of people that really love the crossover, and actually they created a genre out of it, which was called crossbreed. And there's also
mm,
like this jazz and techno, which is also being mixed. And at first, if you hear it, it's like, whoa, this is totally off. But if you explore more, it works. And and I think that's also why, for instance, classical music goes well with other different types of music, because actually then it gets interesting. And so when you do this, what you did today, or actually a long time ago, what came out today, I think that
Yeah.
is massive uncharted territory for AI creation.
Yeah,
You,
yeah, 100%.
I wanted to say, because you've been teasing Sunkiller Lullaby for a while,
Yeah.
with me, but also on LinkedIn, and I was very curious about. Also, the first question I had was, what is it going to be? Is this a movie? Is this a trailer? And then you said this is something else.
Yeah, yeah. I didn't know what to call it. It's not a trailer. It's not a story. It's kind of not a. Is it? It's a music video. I don't know. I call it an audio-visual AI experience.
Yeah.
That's very broad and fluffy, but that's the best thing I can think of. I mean, I think I just saw it now. Dave Clark is premiering his
Oh,
another.
yeah,
Uh,
another.
yeah, there is premiering on YouTube now, so I'm gonna watch it right after this.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
called it, what the hell did he call it? He had a good name for it. Live gen. So live and generative AI, because it's this crossover mix of live action with cameras
Yeah.
and generative. And as far as I understand, the more kind of what do you say, VFX heavy
Yeah.
horror shots are done with AI.
Yeah.
Genius, absolutely fantastic. It's the best use case for AI right now, I
Really.
think. I
Yeah.
mean, I'm represented by some agencies here in Sweden and stuff, and I have a music project coming up potentially. I'm gonna do some trials for it. For it's like music video with proper camera, and then certain scenes will be sometimes I call them the impossible shots. I saw other people call it online as well, or shots that would be very time consuming, very expensive to do with
Yeah.
traditional tools, but with AI we can combine them with live action and rendering tools, because I mean AI is not this like one stop solution that will solve everything, at least not now.
Yeah.
Post Sora, we will see. I have some nice. Maybe you saw the gossip that came out this week. I don't know, or last week actually, about Sora. Might not be all the rage actually, but we can get back to that. But yeah, crossover in two ways: crossover in genres, like what you
Yeah.
talked about, but crossover also in mediums, as in traditional filmmaking with AI. That's the real.
Yeah.
This year I think it will happen.
I think indeed that you would get some kind of a hybrid form of art content. I saw indeed like Dave, what he was doing. I think he posted like a behind the scenes with a lot of green screens and
Yep.
actors walking in the streets, and then using AI to create new worlds. I think that is going to be like this, also maybe you could call it a competitive advantage in a landscape where there's so many AI creators, and the only way you can survive is just when you stand out. And this, my comment today, I totally feel that you raised the bar for AI storytelling and creations. It's just like you. Well, I was just thinking of a video that I was doing, and now you pushed me to think, go back and think, like, is this going to be A to B, or is this going to be A to G at least? So it's and this is so awesome, that we're pushing each other all the way in a good sense, in a positive sense. We're showing stuff, and Dave's doing this a lot of as well. And you get inspired, and you're like, yeah, yeah, man, I need to go back and experiment. So
Yeah.
yeah,
100%, man. I feel the same. I said the other day to my girlfriend that like I feel a bit like in the early days of the internet, when you would just talk to random people online. I mean, you would nerd out over heavy metal or movies or whatever in old communities. Like I had ICQ,
yeah,
very
exactly.
early Messenger. Yeah, like I'm old, so it's like but it was very innocent, and it was all about just connecting with people
Yeah,
before the influencers, before the sponsorships, before all these big. It was very kind of pure internet, if
yeah,
you know what I mean. And I feel the same with you. I feel the same with a bunch of other people I met online. And especially, I mean, LinkedIn is the place. Like, people need to understand that LinkedIn is the best. You can post long videos, you can do long threads, you
Yeah.
can connect, you can have private messages. It's much more versatile than X. It's much more versatile than Instagram.
Yeah.
And the algorithm works. I mean, you found me somehow, and we found
Yeah.
each other because like we're interested in the same stuff. So the
Exactly.
algorithm is pure, so to say, and that's
No,
all I. So yeah, I mean, 100%, man. It's really humbling, and thank you for the kind words. And I mean, yeah, if I can, make someone else take themselves or whatever they're doing to the next level, and vice versa later on, and we can all kind of just up
okay.
each other in this creative, crazy wave we're all surfing right now.
Yeah, no, totally. I feel that too, and that's why I also how do you say, like, sometimes feel kind of limited that there's a lot of debate and discussion also about jobs moving. This is the apocalypse. Jobs
Yeah,
are moving away. And then I'm like, yeah, sure, things will change because we're inside a revolution in a revolution. This is like probably the fourth industrial revolution size like that. Like you just said, this is a thing like the dot-com era. Definitely in 20 years or 30 years, people will look back, or the next generation will look back and say, "Whoa, were you there at the beginning of AI?" And then we can say, "Yeah, we kind of shaped it. We helped create content that maybe did something here." And that is
yeah,
very pure moment.
in like 20 years, it's like, do you remember Pika Labs? Do you remember? Like, it's
Yeah,
gonna it's
yeah,
gonna be like
exactly.
the
Because
first gen of.
exactly, and that's why I tend to move away from the discussion that that it's scary and stuff, because for now I think it's such a pure creative moment, and there's rules and regulations are necessary, of course, but on the other hand, it can also be very limited to a creative flow. I did an exercise last year. I started in I think it was January 2023 or something, or February, and I created a video out of the evolution from AI video up to December, and then you saw all these pizza nightmares, melting faces in the beginning, and at the end you
Yeah.
saw a pretty cool video. So I think, yeah, we're did we just get started with this? What do you think?
Yeah, yeah, Jesus Christ. Yeah, I mean, AI, when did like Runway Gen 2 come out? Was it 22? End of 22? Tail end of 22-ish?
Yeah,
Mid
something.
22?
Yeah,
I mean, it's like barely a year I mean, if you take the other tools before Runway, but I mean, kind of, you
yeah.
know, so yeah, we're not even mid on the top of the wave,
Okay.
where this title is just starting to shape. And I mean, like you said, that it's gonna flood in over all kinds of industries. I mean, and they will all be affected in different ways. That's why it's so hard. It's impossible to say like, yeah, AI is gonna doom us or save us. Well, I mean, to be honest, it's gonna change a lot of jobs.
Yeah,
That's for sure. I mean, so did Photoshop. Like, everybody, do you remember? I mean, when I'm a teacher as well at some
yeah,
of Stockholm's biggest design schools, which is a huge privilege. So I'm out there teaching AI these days because that's all the rage, or what everyone wants to hear about. But I always show a clip from the Today Show in 1990, when maybe you've seen this one. It's been
yeah. I
going
saw
around.
I saw it in your comment. Yeah,
Yeah, it's great. So I urge everyone to type like "morning show 1990 Adobe Photoshop" and on YouTube, and you will get this clip. And the discussion, the narrative in that video in 1990 is the very reminiscent. Sure, it's not a one-to-one, because nothing is ever a one-to-one.
no,
It's not a perfect metaphor. Oh, sorry, like
yeah,
there
yeah,
is none.
yeah,
Or basically we should be quiet then. No, I'd rather talk
yeah.
and talk out loud together so we can kind of figure out what's going on. So yeah, of course, people who did not want to work with digital design tools when they came out, what do you think is going to happen? It's like, and I mean, there will be some sad fates. I'm absolutely sure, but it's all about also. It's never been easier to learn new things today. It's never been cheaper. It's never been more accessible to pick up the tools, because like the biggest resistance, I mean, I think, is from people who never touch the tools because they have for different reasons, and I can sympathize with that. They have a resistance towards it. They're afraid, they're scared, or they're I don't know, for whatever reason they don't want to touch them. But that also makes you oblivious to how they work, what's the potential, how you can use it. So I think what do you say, coming at these huge technological shifts from a place of curiosity, from a place of wanting to learn, from a place of creativity, is just always going to win. That might sound naive or romantic, but yeah, that's what I believe. That's my take. So curious and creative, that will bring you forward. I mean, regardless if you're in games or VFX or 3D animation, these tools are finding its way everywhere. I mean, Unreal Engine already has AI in it, in like procedural terrain and everything they're doing with motion cap, and basically making things that were really annoying, really time consuming to go much faster. That's what they're doing, and that's what AI. I mean, I could never even have done any of my pieces at all because I'm not a filmmaker. I'm just a guy from Sweden. But here we are, and we can make amazing things. So I rather think about that, what we can do.
It's totally true, and indeed there's there's harsh realities now, people losing jobs maybe already, and it's sadly it's all about the mindset. It's about the choice that you make. If we look at our own span of control, we cannot stop AI. It's already happening. It's just like this line over here, Judgment Day. It has begun. But we have a choice how we react. That is always the thing. We have, and the choice is pivot or perish. You can say, I'm not trusting this. I'm not believing in it, or and then you'll perish. You'll do something else, or you can say, hey, this is new. How can I, get involved? Get maybe commercial insights. There's so many things. I remember, with the pandemic, I was in events. I was hosting or organizing festivals and really like big live events. So I got the call and they say, it's over, man, gone. And it was a black hole. We did a bid on a house. I could revoke that.
Oh,
There was a lot of it was dark, but on the other hand, I was like, okay, I got myself together and I said, you can cry for one night and then we have to go on, get up and see what is possible, because there were so many possibilities. And then what happened, I will always remember, there was such a creative vibe among a lot of entrepreneurs here in the Netherlands. It will probably be everywhere in the world, but so many concepts. Hey, let's do a drive-in cinema. Okay, but we cannot be in cars because it's too close to each other. So there was other things and then other things. And I so much love that creative vibe, and it kind of fills me with the thing right now is that there's so many space, there's so many uncharted territory, and just like what you did with Sunkiller Lullaby, it stretched it up, so there's new territory probably to explore over there. Yeah, this is
yeah, 100%, man. I mean, basically, you're talking about the kind of innovative, creative spirit of humanity. That's what you're talking about, right? Yeah. I mean, it's the same thing here in Sweden. It was like, yeah, we can't do dance classes because we're too tight in a contained space. Let's do them in a park together, far away from each other. I mean, to quote Jurassic Park, life will find a way. I mean, and I mean, I talk to other people. Yeah, there you go. Right. To other people who like, yeah, Sora, it's gonna replace us all. We're heading into the Matrix, Black Mirror. It's over. And it's like, okay, let's say you're right. Let's say you're right. Even so, I'd rather have a crazy, fun, amazing, creative ride into the doomsday sunset. Mm-hmm. I'll rather go full speed with my cabriolet on the road 666 towards whatever doomsday. Because I mean, what's the alternative? Like, come on, guys, like, well, grow up a little bit. I mean,
indeed. So okay, but this is interesting. So let's go down this road. If we say okay, we don't want to perish, we want to pivot. Where does the empowerment starts? What should people do to get started, to get acquainted with this?
I think I would say two things to anyone wanting to get into AI in 2024. We're in March now. And I hate to say mindset because it's so fluffy, but I'm going to explain what I mean. And it's basically going back to the 2 points. Curiosity and creativity. That's what you. So be curious about the tools. Like if you don't know what you want to do, just do something. Just pull up Midjourney, get a basic account, do something. First thing that comes into your head. A
Yeah.
puppy in a pool. Okay, great. A puppy in a pool. That's it. And you do that, and maybe you do a short little. Maybe you do posters. Maybe you do birthday cards. I don't know. I can only do what I do. Weird.
Yeah.
Or metalcore. I mean, I have like a million concepts I have to do. I have a backlog of things. Like, ideas are not the problem for me. I've always been super. I'm bad at many things, many things. Creativity is not one of them. Very, very okay on that front. That's one of the things biology gave me. But yeah. So like curiosity and willingness to learn, because otherwise it's like yeah, it's gonna be really, really tricky. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. Like, if you're not curious and you don't have that kind of creative spark of wanting to try, well, okay. I don't know. Go get a retail job. I don't know.
No,
but yeah.
I think you're totally right. It is indeed the mindset. And if you would say, for instance, yeah, there's already so many tools, or there are already so many creators, how do I fit in? It's actually your mind, limiting you because of a place called fear. And you should really recognize that and say, hey, this is a great place. Let's go inward and create. Where is this fear coming from?
Yes, there you go. Great segue to inward. Great segue to inward if you want to, because that's how do I stand out? By being yourself, which is like the worst advice ever. Like, thanks, mom. Lest when you go on a date, just be yourself.
Well,
Like, oh, but I don't know who I am when you're 18 or 20. I mean, again, I'm 37, so it's like, yeah, I'm beginning to understand who I am, what I'm good at, what I profoundly like, and something approximating a style after 10 years in design. Yeah, that takes time. There's no shortcuts. I mean, kind of Alex Hormozy says the same thing. If I mean, big YouTube guy in the entrepreneur space. It's like it's not necessarily about the outputs themselves. It's not so necessarily, because I mean, Sunkiller Lullaby will be outdated in 3 to 6 months visually. I'm sure of it. All the tools that's coming. But it's not. Yeah. But it's not about the output itself, but it's about who you become by the process of doing the output. It's not about if you go to the gym. It's about who you become as a process of going to the gym, if that makes sense. Because you pick up a ton of skills, you pick up a ton of knowledge just by doing the thing over and over and over and over again. I mean, I've become so much better in After Effects just by freaking. That's a horrible program. I hate it, but I have to use it. Like, I don't like After Effects, but it's the portal to getting my vision out there. Programs are kind of boring. I think actually that might be another segue. I wrote about Technocratic versus Creatocratic, a word I made up.
Yeah. So you just said you hate After Effects, man.
Yeah. It's not a nice program. It's not intuitive. It's you can do everything with it. It's too big. It has definitely featureitis. I mean, but at the same time, I also love it because it's a tool to bring whatever is inside my head through my fingers onto a screen, and then I can shoot it out on the internet. But like I'm a very non-technical person. I don't like tools. Tools are boring. Tools are just a means to an end. I'm not nerding out over, like, I don't know, all the little things you can do. Like, okay, I want to do this thing. Like, I have a vision and I want to do it. You know what I mean? Certain.
Yeah, totally. I have that experience too. When I started creating video, it was in 2016. I started creating like hand-drawn whiteboard animations. So I had like this tripod tilted on my desk with the camera like pointed downwards, and I was drawing. And every time I made a mistake in the drawing, I had to redo the drawing. So it was a pain. It cost me like many graveyard shifts and nights to get designs done. And I was using iMovie, the tool iMovie to edit the videos. And then at a certain moment, I needed a little bit more visual effects kind of thing. So I upgraded to Final Cut, and from Final Cut I went to Premiere. I got After Effects too. But same like you, I never had the education in it. I just like in a how do you say, like autodidact way I learned myself. But I think that I've just, and with After Effects started learning how to animate templates, logo animations that look pretty cinematic, pretty cool. But then you're like, yeah, man, I'm just probably like a 9 or 10% in the bar of the total program. So that's,
Yeah, but I mean, After Effects, you can do everything from like UI animation for web to the fucking muzzle flash on a gun for post prod to VFX slime. I mean, everything. It's
yeah,
every to like light editing. I mean, my editing is like child's play. I work with like overlays and blend modes and like various some VFX stuff or some packs I have. It's very, very simple. But I mean that's the scope of After Effects, right? And it's just too big. Like I cannot. Maybe one day, who knows? But I mean, yeah, I'm not a tools person.
no,
That's
but yeah, but it is cool that these tools allow to us to, with the right input and time and effort, that it allows to stretch ourselves. I think, yeah. So but indeed, like, this is also what we discussed. Is it the creative vision that comes first, or is it the technical UX UI, the interface, how it is designed, and you are just, putting your creative vision through that? And
yeah.
bad luck if you don't understand how it works. Bad luck for your creative
100%.
vision.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, that's basically the essence of another little post I had. I mean, basically, I also think writing is thinking, or at least for me, it helps to write. I mean, I have a lot of thoughts. What can I say? Like, so I think I work with this, and I mean, I work with AI full time now. But like, so I think about this all the time. I mean, when I'm working and reading and keeping up with things at the gym, whatever.
Yeah,
So it's like I have a lot of thoughts. So to write helps me to kind of formalize, to make it a bit more concrete
yeah,
and like this makes sense, this doesn't make sense. And exactly what you were saying now, I called it for myself. Right, these are technocratic tools. They are designed by technocrats, people who are systems engineers and very much feature, like more features the better. Like, okay, maybe sometimes, but also, user experience and all this stuff. I mean, I also work with user experience, so I have a little bit of insight there. But so you have technocratic tools, but something like Runway or a lot of these new AI tools are actually kind of creatocratic.
yeah,
They're very creation centered. It's like, yeah, they do the thing, and I like that. It's good. Like some was, oh, they're so easy. Why shouldn't it be easy? Why do you want it to be hard?
exactly.
I understand. I understand you invested 15 years in your learning Nuke or whatever, After Effects, and now you like, I have this knowledge and it's great. Okay, great. But wouldn't it be better if it only took you 5 days? And then you could have spent, like, to be honest, these people invested, a lot of people invested so much time in learning the tools. So anything else kind of to do something creative with them, because I mean, that's the point, right? We don't use the tools to use the tools. We use the tools to make something, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
And if making something is easier, I think that's a win. That's a huge win for all of us in
Yeah.
create. But I see this kind of two different mindsets. People who love that it's hard because it was
Yeah.
hard for them. So now it should be hard for everyone
Yeah.
because Unreal used to it's a real pain to work with.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I like that it's easy or becomes easier.
No, indeed, and it's you mentioned Runway, and I love the example because indeed, like the motion brush in Runway, it's so super awesome. You just have the brush and everything you would like the effect from Alfred Hitchcock Vertigo, what they did, like the dolly zoom effect.
Dolly zoom, yeah.
You have one brush, you use the entire background behind me and you make it purple, and then you brush me entirely into yellow. You put the zoom sliders.
Reversed. Yeah.
Reverse, and then you have this magic zoom effect, and then indeed, it gives so much creative freedom. Indeed, it shouldn't be hard, and
Yeah,
yeah,
it's like I want this to move. That's I want this to move. Like these, I like this is what okay, very very easy, very graphic, very kind of almost anyone can get their head around that, and I like that. I think that's a huge win. So if that means that that's the future for a lot of more tools,
yeah.
great. I
Indeed,
think
indeed.
that's great.
No, and I think that that is it lowers the threshold to start creating. That's the first thing. You don't need to invest
Also a good
money
thing.
or time. So there will be more people that are actually not so talented in technical tools or didn't have the education or money to do it. Now are allowed to to create, which will lead to a tidal wave of untold stories, which is very awesome. And I want to deep dive a little bit more on the inward in a sec. And yeah, it's just like I think over the years we have indeed seen with web design, for instance, as well, that right now you go to Wix or whatever and you create a website in seconds, and still that's probably not the same quality as WordPress or whatever. But I'm not a web designer, so I'll go 10 times with Wix versus WordPress. But it's just like for that reason. I don't want to be involved in coding. I wanna create a great looking website, drag and drop. It's super easy. I can kids could do it. So
100% coding is also a really good example, actually. I mean, I'm very much not a software engineer, like not at all, not at all. But as far as I understand, since like the 50s, 60s, I mean, the very early days of code, every coding language, the point of it has been to become easier to deal with. Like coding 80 years ago was a complete pain. It's a child's play today, and even today it's really hard. But I mean, no one complains that like doing code is becoming easier. That is also like a good thing, because at the end of the day, you don't want to do code to do code. You want to do code to make an app, to do a website, etc.
exactly, yeah,
And same with the tools, right? I mean, After Effects, whatever, it's made to do something. So yeah, and I mean, but that was just kind of to round off this thought of technocratic
yeah,
classic tools versus creatocratic, which is more like creation centered, more simplified.
yeah,
There's a ton of them coming now also that I haven't even tried yet. So yeah,
yeah,
that's another thing. AI fatigue, in the sense of getting there's so many AI tools to keep up with all the
yeah,
time, and they're developing and changing. And just when you thought like, oh, this is the workflow, then it's not.
yeah,
And I mean, I invested quite heavily in a new computer, a Mac, just to be able to run Comfy UI natively.
yeah,
Because I tried all these solutions with like Think Diffusion, it just doesn't work. It's just really annoying. So I paid a lot to not be on a PC. That's my preference.
yeah,
Fully understand if people just want to be on a PC, that's absolutely fine. But yeah, so that's like the next avenue for me to like get into that side, to the Comfy UI and all the great things people are doing.
yeah.
So yeah, there's always something new to learn. It's great and stimulating. Can be a little bit exhausting as well,
Yeah.
at least full.
Yeah, no, I understand what you mean. And indeed, you're right that there's so many AI apps coming out, like 200 or 300 every week, and that was like a few months ago. So imagine that what it is right now. And
Yeah,
there's this website, there's an AI for that. I probably know it, but it's like this
yeah,
like start page for all these kind of tools. And a friend of mine, she is actually like reviewing AI tools, and she's actually helping people that are new to AI with making the right choices, because it is an actual pain that you're stuck with 150 free trials of tools that you tested out and that seem to suck. Just so that there is a need for that, that kind of guidance. And also, what you just said, it reminded me of also what we talked about earlier, and that is that the pivot or perish is not just for people or creative people, but also like for entire companies, for apps. If you're right now, even if you're an AI app and things are getting easier, and the interfaces are getting easier, the prompts are getting better, the filters or the effects that you can put. Yeah, there's already apps that I see you did not did not innovate since last year. Your app still looks the same, and you should you're in this new space. This is so valuable right now. You have a position, you already have something. Keep it up, but there are probably 100 reasons why. But it's just that the speed is high. Speed is high. Yeah,
yeah. I mean, AI is this kind of, what is it, magic dust that found its way everywhere. That's kind of accelerating everything, right? It's accelerating what we can do as creators. It's accelerating the competitiveness in the marketplace. That's another kind of topic I think is quite interesting to talk about. the competitive aspect of the marketplace, because I mean, I can only speak for myself as a friend of free markets. I'm actually very glad it's American companies leading the development of everything of high caliber AI. You know, Midjourney, OpenAI, of course, Runway, all of them are American, and I think that's actually a testament to the competitive spirit of capitalism. And I mean, capitalism gets a lot of shit for right reasons. It's not a perfect system, but when it works, it fucking works. I mean, we get stuff like Sora and everyone is just upping their game all the time
Yeah.
in spirit of innovation becoming better. And I like that. I don't know. Some might not. That's fine. But
Yeah,
I think
I
that's
see what you
a
mean.
really cool thing but to go back to your point, if you don't innovate, you're done.
Yeah.
Pivot or perish. I mean, you have to keep up. And this AI, it's kind of, we're sniffing this AI magic dust, and everyone is just kind of, what is it called? Limitless, the movie when he can just like, he gets superpowers and can
Yeah,
work
yeah,
all day on. But it's a little bit, AI is a little bit like that. It's just kind of accelerating everything. I personally like speed. I like being able to get what's in here
yeah,
out there much quicker.
yeah,
I understand it's not for everyone, but yeah, that's another kind of interesting thought that I think not too many
yeah.
talk about. Like, I'm really glad it's not Russia or other China or other countries developing these LLMs.
Yeah, no, I think it's funny. I was in the car and I was listening to the radio, and someone said that, the European Union, they want to have their own AI system in 5 years. And someone had to laugh so hard because he said, in human years, 5 years in AI is like 30 years human years. So, and that is, I don't know, and
Yeah.
it is a very, very large portion of the discussion of, how what are we doing right now? How are all these countries like politically seeing an advantage for their own country or for whatever reason? So you have like a political reason to think something of AI. There's commercial reasons, there's creative reasons, and it all somehow needs to be together in one ecosystem, and who's going to guide that, and this is the thing that I totally love about this creative, because I think we're in the creative commercial kind of thing, but that is what I love, is like there's no limits, there's nobody, right now. Actually, it goes so fast, the development. And yeah, I'm just afraid that with regulations, rightful or not, it's going to slow down. And yeah. Like,
Yeah, it's a valid point. I mean, I'm the same as you. Like, many others, way smarter people than me, focus on kind of the morals and the ethics
yeah,
and legality and legislation, all this stuff. I
yeah,
focus on the commercial and creative part. That's what my career has been about, and that's what I know. So I'll do that.
yeah,
I'll leave the others, the other parts to the others. But with that said, when was the last time we kind of hindered technology, like in history? When was the last time we kind of like, nah, let's not do this industrial revolution thing. Like, let's put a cap on it. It's kind of never worked. If you look historically, it's gonna. I have a feeling it's gonna run its course. There might be, legislations and different things. There's a talk in Sweden here. You're gonna have to mark like an ad if AI was used in it. I think that's like a little hiccup, and that's gonna be gone as fast as it came, because just the sheer amount of images and videos made,
yeah,
it's just gonna, you cannot resist this, what is it called? The movie The Day After Tomorrow, when it's just this
yeah,
enormous flood.
yeah,
How if you scream at a waterfall, is it gonna stop flowing? Like, no,
no.
it's just gonna come. It's just gonna do its thing, and we're gonna have to rethink a lot of this. I mean, copyright and everything
Yeah,
was
indeed.
made for a world of like the printing press.
Exactly, exactly.
It's
That's
it's
why it's so
amazing.
interesting, because there's just, it's not just, about design in general. It actually, this, questions the foundations of how we've been working together for so many years or centuries. Indeed, copyright. What is copyright? Colors. Who's the one that owns a specific color? You could even go that far. You know, it's just that,
Yeah. Then you have fair use, and of course you have the U.S. system, European system, and all this stuff, right? But it's like, So the thing with AI images right now is like it's like stock photo. Like you can use them,
Yeah.
but so can everyone else. So what you're actually doing is kind of you're creating a library for the world. Is kind of what it's public domain. Like we're creating just like enormous amount of images and video that basically anyone can use them. Like you can't copyright. Like this is mine. Sure, there's supposedly gray areas. Like
Yeah.
if the image has substantial human, what do you
Yeah.
say? Involvement or whatever, that you retouched it or whatever, or changed a finger. I don't know. This has never been tested in a court, as far as I know. But like just from a philosophical perspective, I think we're kind of creating public domain,
Yeah.
public domain stuff that's not with copyright anymore. Mickey Mouse, I think last year ran. So
Yeah.
Mickey Mouse, public domain, anyone can use it. Um, so that's kind of how I think about it. That like it's not gonna be this like companies like here's my little image and it's mine. No one else can have it. Like
No.
this is ours. That's the age of the printing press. That's
Yeah.
gone. We're
Yeah.
gonna have to. But there's this mismatch now that we have the tools, but the system is kind of as in copyright, and it's just kind of not really matching. I could, of course, be totally wrong, and there's a copyright tomorrow. Okay, maybe that's just well, this is just some hypothetical guess, But
Yeah.
from what I see now, that's the guess.
And I think that for, the maybe the interesting underlying question would be like, why would you limit yourself if you have unlimited power to something that already exists?
Yeah, I mean, it's like literally you can create anything. It's
Yeah.
like mad from sure it's a Lion 5 data set of 5 billion images, and a couple of years is probably 10, and maybe soon the entirety of the world is the data sets. What happens then when the world is the data set to all the anti-AI
Indeed.
people out there?
Yeah.
Um, so,
No,
so, so yeah, but in a world where everything is possible, like what copyright? What? Like I don't know. Like I will, well, I don't know. It's I haven't fully thought this thing out yet, but that's what we're doing here. We're just kind of test talking, right, and bouncing
exactly.
ideas.
Exactly. We're just, we're experiencing this massive unlimited creative power that we have been given, and it's just like right now there's many questions. There's indeed, like, there's a lot of discussion and debate that can come out of a view, like a standpoint. I think it's also healthy to change certain standpoints if you've been giving new information, and that is this era.
100%.
But I just think that it's just like we should focus more on like creating stories that have not been told, and that's actually where I want to go right now, is like the inward part, because I thought that was so super interesting. There will be right now we have the option, like we said, okay, there's the technocratic era where if you do not know the tools, or you don't have access, or you don't have money, you're not allowed to share your vision or your thoughts. So and that's actually pretty sad, because there may be people
Really
that,
hard. It's gonna
sorry.
be really hard to do, or it's gonna be really hard to share. Like it's gonna take you years to just figure out the tool
Oh
and
yeah, even worse. So there's so many people that have stories inside them, based on experiences, based on horror, based on things they went through, so many things, and they cannot, it stays hidden. And if I also learned that if you sit on emotions for too long, it's just, if you do not have like a conduit or a way to express yourself, you'll get physical hurt. And it's just that this we do now have, like, AI could also almost be like this, your personal doctor or something, that if you to express uh, pure emotions. And I think that is, and still, sure, we can buy a canvas, empty canvas, and paint strokes and start painting as well, but I think this is different, right? It's
yeah, yeah, sure. It's not the same thing. Sure, AI is not a paintbrush. Absolutely. I mean, I think that's why it also gets so confusing when people talk about AI is not art. Well, no. If your definition of art is paintbrush, if that's the limited scope of art, sure, it's not art. What about animation, 3D art, digital art, performance art, video? Did you miss the modern century? Did you, maybe you
yeah.
missed that? Okay. Like I'm not saying you, but like as in people.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I hear you. I think it's exciting that people can have more tools to tell stories. because stories are fucking awesome.
Yeah.
And it also, what it does is that I hope at least is that it strips away a lot of the bullshit and a lot of the, so for example, Hollywood has been an extremely gate kept system. You know, you don't just walk in there and get your movie done. You know, I can probably not even comprehend how many layers of nepotism and whatever you have to go through to get a movie done these days. But when you can drastically decrease the costs and do something like Dave Clark with another, or these, you know, live gen, or this hybrid that we started talking about in the conversation, when that becomes more accessible, then it's no longer about the cost of cameras, and these things go down. Just like when everyone got this in their hand, we could shoot video, and that's cool. That's good.
Exactly.
It's not a bad thing. So what happens then? Well, then we need to start telling stories, and I hope that even with Sora and stuff. So let's say our grandmas can prompt Marvel level CGI. Let's say that happens.
Yeah.
What the hell does that mean? It means a lot of things. But what I hope, I mean, call me romantic, call me, I don't know, naive, whatever. But it's like, what I hope happens is that we stop being in love with fidelity, because that's what's happened today, and why I think a lot of Hollywood productions are so empty. I stopped watching Marvel and stuff years ago. Like, I am bored to death. Like, I cannot. This is subjective. It's really polished and really high fidelity, and we value that because it's really expensive. It's really expensive, and it takes such a long time to do. That's why it's like, wow, this look. But what happens when that expensive, long time to do thing becomes commodity? So that's what I talk about. When fidelity becomes commodity, what happens then? What I hope happens is that we strip away, like, everything is going to look great. Okay, great. Everything's going to look great. It's no longer super expensive. Then what? Then it's the story. Then it's everything on the shelf behind you that used to be so great with movies. Stories, acting, script, dialogue, emotions, shots, just what you can do with a camera, and how you angle someone's face, you know, shadows, lighting, all the intricate parts of filmmaking that, I mean, I don't know, I'm only a fan of movies. I'm not a filmmaker, but I'm so excited to see that become the heart and soul, not the CGI farms, you know, that's required to make a big movie today. I don't know how you think, but that's something I think is,
you know, it's funny because it makes me think of the low budget horror movies that were created somewhere in the 80s, like Evil Dead, you know, Sam Raimi,
Mad Max.
who had a vision. And I think I'm not sure, I don't know the budget out of the top of my head, but right now, today, you know, obviously inflation, but it's super creative vision. Brain Dead, Peter Jackson, Bad Taste. You know, it's crazy how, you know, the creative vision and little budget, you know, created so many movies. So, and indeed, like, right now, it's so funny because sometimes when I tell my brothers, hey, there's a new movie coming out, and it's you know, it's a sequel of something. You know, it's not interesting. Or, you know, even with Star Wars, the latest trilogy, which has been so, you know, criticized because there was nothing new. And I think that right now we indeed need to look at that and say, hey, what is happening? Why are we making a copy of a copy of a copy? Why is that? Because there's, you know, it's creative poverty. Even there's so many stories left untold. You mentioned the you know, if elderly people would have the AI at their fingertips, you know, imagine that there are stories untold from the 40s or the 50s, you know, that
incredible.
be creative in that. So inward, you know, from personal experiences.
Yeah, I mean, I hope that essentially, you know, the tools will, in a paradoxical kind of oxymoron way, that the tools will enable the human stories to be more in the center, because the tools strips away, at least generative AI in you know, in a post Sora world or wherever. It strips away this enormous pipeline. And okay, so this I'm gonna get a lot of shit for. a lot of people are employed in that pipeline, in the VFX CGI pipeline. There's a lot of people are required to make those gorgeous shots. Yeah, maybe you can keep your job with AI and just do a lot more. I talked to someone, and he was like, yeah, sometimes when you have to render out like your VFX shot, I do it at night, and then I can watch it the day after.
Yeah.
Okay, like, do you like that? Is my question. Like, is that a nice setup? Like, no, it's probably not. No, it sounds horrible. It must take so long to do anything. And I mean, this was also, if you look at Photoshop in 1990, the frame rate rendering of just like moving something was like 1 frame per whatever. Like, it was so choppy and so laggy. All of this is going to get exponentially better. And with AI, when we are not only rendering things, we're generating things.
Exactly.
And I mean, everything that Sam Altman is doing with it, NVIDIA, to get chips of GPU that is specifically done for generating, then what happens? I don't know, but I think it sounds like a great thing if you don't have to wait overnight to look at your VFX shot rendered. That sounds really boring and horrible to me. But yeah, I'll probably get a lot of shit for that, and that's fine. But anyway, that's the prediction.
I think, for people, like you say, there's many people, what we said, that touches that has a certain fate for their jobs, which is very pitiful, and this is not something that we're happy about, not at all. I think we resonate with them, we feel them, we feel their pain, but we encourage them as well, and that is, I think, the only thing that we can do is that what we see is actually maybe like encourage them to say, hey, try this out, it's and see what can be done. I think that's the only thing that we can do.
Exactly. Try it out, and it might work out in your favor.
Exactly.
I follow a bunch of people on LinkedIn who are in games. I don't work in games. My sister does. So I hear a few things from her. She's a character artist, and for example, one of the things that takes a long time is like texturing skin, like human skin, like texturing that by hand, or like making and then wrap it around like the 3D model and stuff. And I watch a guy, I forget his name, but he's using Crea and Magnific to get very, very high, because how it's not fun texturing skin. Like, you just want a nice human. You want that's what you want in games. Like that's a very laborsome manual process that's just boring. So sorry, I got a message. But yeah, that's just one of the many ways where generative AI can, and in Unreal with procedural terrain, like when you draw a jungle and as an environment artist, you don't have to sit and place 60,000 palm trees. Like, no, and when you draw a river in between, the procedural terrain will just kind of, based on a lot of machine learning, which is AI as well, it will figure out kind of what you want, and then you can tweak it. No, I want 5% more trees and 5% more rocks. Amazing what Unreal is doing, and AI is in Photoshop as well. Generative fill, freaking lifesaver. Jesus Christ, how amazing that has transformed how I work. So it's
No,
it's truly
I see the example indeed of, in gaming. I'm not much of a gamer, but when I do, I just like the simple Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat games, because with the open worlds, I don't have like the patience to discover everything. But I can imagine the pain if you just have to like manually create that, and that's just there's
the expression, a rising tide lifts all boats. So I mean, games are going to look a hell of a lot better. Like, I mean, what's today only for your big AAA studios, a mid studio will be able to do that. Is that a bad thing? I think that's a great thing. And it also means that we're going to have to. Okay, so when all games look great, then what? Then you can't just like ride on the graphics. The game has to actually be great, and. I don't know about you, but I love story-driven games. I love The Last of Us. I love God of War. I love the heart, like games with a heart and soul that hits you. So I want to see more of that. And if they look amazing as well, amazing, great. So to conclude there, I would also like encourage people to, in games VFX, is try it out, see if it can help your process. I think it will only help you, not hurt you, because you also, sorry to just ramble on here, but you said something earlier about we cannot stop this, and that's Yes, we cannot stop this. I
No.
typically say on lectures and stuff, the genie is out of the bottle. We rub the
Yeah.
bottle and
Yeah.
Aladdin, the genie is out. It's not gonna go back in.
No.
Like Altman or whoever rubbed it, it's out. It's not going back in, and we're all gonna get the crazy wishes we want creatively to round off that metaphor.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, I think you're right, and that is if you indeed allow to think a little bit further, because that's I think interesting to explore. What does the future hold for us? If as a creative, what if right now, if indeed we have the magic, the genius out of the bottle, we have the magic to create from an inner place, which makes the stories pure, which makes them stand out of artificial content created with shallow. So first you need story, and indeed, like the pure stories is something that will resonate. I think you need crossbreed examples, like what you did with the Sunkiller Lullaby. Um, Maybe even if you go further, what will be where will we enjoy all this content? Because right now it's all scattered, right? There's a lot of AI content on
yeah.
LinkedIn, but on YouTube, will there be a streaming platform where we can actually
I love that
upload our
question.
own movies?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great question. I actually thought about this in we did a podcast, me and some buddies, some ex-colleagues from an AI startup who used to work, and we talked about, or at least one thought that came to me after I saw the Sora demo.
Mhm.
It was exactly that. Like, who is gonna own the distribution platform
Yeah,
for AI video? That's a mind-boggling thought. And it's like it's not like OpenAI hasn't shocked us before. Are they working on some streaming platform? Who knows? Like who knows? But it's profoundly interesting. I've heard rumors that like Netflix is sourcing AI creators
yeah.
to
I
yeah,
think
it's gonna amp up the streaming war that's already happening. HBO, Apple, Amazon, Netflix. Everyone's in it. Not everyone will survive the streaming war. That is for sure. There's too many,
yeah.
too many of them. No one wants to pay for all of them. So yeah, that's an extremely good question, and I only have questions. I do not, as you hear, I don't have.
I don't have the answer either, but the thing that bothers me in this whole entire streaming thing is that I have to pay like all these different subscriptions for studios. When we went to the video store back in the 90s, I went to one video store and I didn't care from which studio they came. I just went to the horror section, comedy, action,
Yeah.
adventure, and I picked the genre. And right now, I have to pay Netflix, I have to pay Disney, I have Amazon Prime, I have HBO, I have four. So and there is also like this overlay of movies, because the
Yeah.
movie probably Independence Day will be both on Amazon Prime and on Netflix. And it's not tailor made to my preference.
And you don't even own them. You perpetually rent them. In the video store you would rent for a week, right? But here you rent them like all the time, and
All
like you
the
say,
time.
you rent the same movie twice or three times, maybe some. So for sure, it's an imperfect system. But I mean, I also loved going to the movies to rent the movie. That was
Yeah.
amazing. I mean, you had kind of your guy. It was usually guys, at least in Sweden, and they could also recommend you stuff. Sometimes they had like staff picks, and yeah, that was nice. But
Yeah.
who knows what's gonna come back? Maybe not the physical store, but maybe something completely different we can't even imagine here today.
No,
And
and this is just like romanticizing an era that unfortunately does not exist anymore. Sometimes I wonder why there's still libraries and why there's not like video stores, because it's just like the physical thing. If I just take this, it's just like, when I took it out, and then you would read the synopsis, and you would see the sticker and says, "Oh, it's only for 16 years and older," and you would be like 12 years old. It would be excitement, and then there you would
yeah,
your wallet, and then you got home and you got this. It's just like this. There's so much. I don't know. There's so much love for that, and I don't know if I right now. If you obviously with streaming, it's easy. You just have 20,000 titles
sure.
at fingertips. You can watch anything that you want. So it's that's a different situation. But I wonder, the what is going to happen if there's a sea of AI generated movies. So longer content that we have right now, because right now we have like about 5 to 10 minutes tops. So what if we have indeed like 45-minute or 60-minute stories created by AI, probably still after summer it will be possible, looking at speed. But then what? Where will we find this? Do we need to know the creators? Will the creators become the new studios? Will the creators become the new Schwarzeneggers and Stallones? Who will be how will this look like? This is
Yeah, that's again all extremely good questions, and it's extremely hard to prophesize. But yeah, I mean, I think of the exact same thing as well, and it's going to be a lot of overlap. I mean, Hollywood is going to be around still. Hollywood is going to be around,
yeah.
but I think to answer a little bit, because I guess we have to conclude in a while. But like when there's gonna be we're gonna drown in a sea of AI content. We already are with the images,
Yeah.
and people just prompt art style 250 enter, and they get something back.
Yeah.
It's usually really lame because it's just like you're actually not prompting anything. You're just like pulling a bunch of things from the data set, and it just kind of it's not a lot of you in there, and that's why it's lame, right? So like that's not what real AI artists or AI creators do. There's a
Yeah.
lot more to it. So just to any haters out there, we don't do that. But so when that when we swim in this ocean, like the little AI islands, I think you're gonna want to crawl up on is the one that comes from a place of inward, that comes from a place of like a really personal story that's put together through the weird, amazing filter that is you as a person. I think that's where, again, like I'm done with the cyborgs and the android ninjas and the, I don't know, this stuff IST. If other people want to make it, that's fine. I think we're just like drowning in that because it feels futuristic, and that's obviously something people want to prompt. That's fine. But I think in the long run, it's going to be all about the personal stories, man. That's what it's going to be at. Like that's, yeah. Also, again, going back to Dave here, talking many times what he did with borrowing time. Perfect example. If you see that one, a personal
Very
story,
personal about his father. Yeah.
super personal, and it went viral and it got a lot of attention for good for
He got it right from the get-go, and I think that is the distinctive factor is story.
yeah.
This is it. Indeed, when everybody has the power to create images that look really great, the distinctive power is stories. And there was someone else on LinkedIn who had a conversation today from the US with like a DM, and he said the same. With AI, this creating. I haven't seen much storytelling yet, and so there's a lot of
Stories are hard. It's really hard. I mean, the next thing I want to do, I want to be a bit more story driven, even though I think it will probably be like a music thing. Because I mean, I obviously don't have cameras and I can't do like a
yeah
crossover thing. So who knows what's going to happen? But I think music is also an amazing way to tell a story.
yeah
Because if you think back to music videos from like the 80s and 90s, usually they were like a little story. I
yeah
mean, you can only talk about the ones that got stuck for me, but like Metallica's Turn the Page by Jonas
yeah
Åkerlund, like
yeah
amazing
one.
video, amazing story, absolutely incredible.
No,
Like, so it
even
gets you.
one from Metallica. They had even the vocals from I think it was from a movie. The guy with the guy in the bandages from Metallica one. I think it was some kind of Elephant Man or something.
Oh yeah. One, yeah, sure. Yes. It's from an old war movie. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I
So
mean, yeah. The one with Metallica is also a horrible little story.
yeah.
That's the song is a story, and the video kind of reflects that. So I that's something I'm also profoundly interested in. I mean, taking two of my huge interest, movies and music, and kind of working with music
Yeah.
videos, something I profoundly interesting. And yeah, if I'm really lucky and work really hard, maybe I get to do that. See, we'll
Yeah.
see. I have some promising DMs and stuff going on,
Yeah.
and some
Cool.
agencies that are representing me. So yeah, and that's also very personal to me, right? That's who I am. I've lived and breathed. We started this talk with this. I've lived and breathed and slept and bled for music. I mean, my entire life
Yeah.
going to shows, and it's just a part. I don't go anywhere without these. I
No.
used to collect vinyl. I worked in record stores when I was young, and I mean, and then you have movies as well. I mean, like video as a medium. Like I'm a very visual person. I've always been that way. So yeah, that's what's worked for me. What's gonna work for for you or anyone else watching, I can't tell you, and that's the hard part, going inward and discovering that, and that takes time. I mean, yeah, it takes a really long time. It's really hard.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean you shouldn't do it. Just like
No,
going to,
well,
it's really, it takes a long time and it's really hard.
exactly. I mean, and that's a chance you took with the Sunkiller Lullaby as well. You know, it's a great song. I must say I haven't I didn't know Spiritbox that well. I'm more into like thrash metal, new metal, but this is definitely, and this is what happens now. I discovered a new band. You know, so
Amazing.
yeah,
They're
I will check them out.
incredible.
They remind me a little bit of Ginger. Not sure if you know.
Yeah, Ginger, yeah, but different. But yeah, I mean, I think metalcore, to be honest, is like where it's at when it comes to heavy music
Yeah,
in today,
yeah,
because there's no boundaries anymore. I mean, if you look at something like Sleep Token, like rap, soul, metal, fusion, like and it sounds insane. Like, what does that sound like? It's beautiful, is what it sounds like, because how they, again, creativity. Here it's more than two things, and it takes even more to put it together. But when you do it right, when you do it with skill, craft, dedication, love, it becomes amazing. So, I mean, yeah, another incredible band, and yeah, music feels more. I mean, new music, because I've been a bit like with movies. Like if you want to see something good, you watch an old movie. But with
yeah,
music now, you don't have to go. I love old music as well. I mean, 80s, 90s. But now there's this whole generation. There's a new energy everywhere. There's a new energy in music. There's a new energy in AI tools. And
yeah.
actually, just to round this off with cinema, I watched Dune 2 the other day.
Oh,
And
yeah.
Jesus Christ,
Good.
Jesus Christ, man, this is cinematic history. I mean, I don't take those words lightly. Dune 1 was really, really good.
Yeah,
Dune 2 is just like 10x. This is the future of cinema.
yeah,
This might be a new franchise for the yeah, this century. If they keep building on this, and Denise is yeah, I mean, I loved him before, but Jesus Christ, man,
yeah,
he just went for it, and yeah,
yeah.
that was incredible to be a part of that. So I hope we're seeing a new dawn for cinema, new energy in AI and music, and maybe you can put together AI, video, music together. We'll see. I'll do my best, but yeah, I'm hopeful.
It is, you know, it blends perfectly together, and it's just like the music and video and movies. You know, it just I once saw Hans Zimmer live in Amsterdam, and he started out with June, the soundtrack from June, and there was so many emotion. It was audio visual experience, uh,
There
and
you go.
and it, you know, it was very emotional, and I think there were 70,000 people that cried when he played Gladiator, and you saw
Wow.
the like the grain, the scene with all the grain,
Mm,
and Russell Crowe comes home, and that is
wow.
it. You know, the emotion. It's all about that. You know, the creation is about emotion, the connection, and then I think we get back to the beginning where we started about creation. Creativity is is connection. So if
Yes, and great art makes you feel something, even if it's sadness.
indeed,
I
yeah,
can get
indeed,
the goosebumps, and that sounds incredible.
yeah.
Good for you that you got to see Hans. He's amazing.
He's amazing. He's a rock star. He's totally a rock star.
True
So
rock star. True rock
yeah,
star.
you're a rock star. Yeah. Yeah. All right, Billy. I want to thank you so much for joining me today in this little talk. I think it's super exciting, the topics that we explored. I could go on for like 4 hours
Me
to
too.
explore more. For now, for everybody that's been watching, thank you so much for tuning in. I totally advise to check out Billy Boman on LinkedIn, on YouTube. His Sunkiller Lullaby audio visual experience is out today. So I had the privilege to have an exclusive premiere to go into a little depth there. And we'll see you on the next one. And Billy, I'll talk to you soon, man.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Take care. Have a great time.
Thank you. Bye.
Ciao.
Bye.
night, a sunkiller lullaby. They were born of dust, shallow parasites, breakdown, destruction, ocean floors collide. If the blade is dull, there is consequence. If I say I know, I'll be violent. Tell me the waves won't rise, and monsters will fade with time, to temper the blaze with the fist of a knife. A sunkiller lullaby. Sunkiller, sing me to sleep. 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 Sunkiller, sing me to sleep.
Oh.